What up YouTube? This is Steven and welcome back to another video. In this video I want to talk about light-skinned black men media promotion. So pretty much just light-skinned black men in the media and how much media promotion they get and yeah. So you know as we know when it comes down to say light-skinned black men and dark-skinned black men, I would say darker-skinned black men get more media promotion. A lot of times when there are black movies, quote unquote, when a black movie, a lot of times when it comes to we want a black man, they go for quote unquote a black man, like a monoracial black man who looks black from a distance. They don't go for the racially ambiguous light skin, waffle colored, beige black dude, right? And I find that, just like on one hand, if it was across the board, I'll be like, okay, that makes sense then. Like if it was like, oh, this is what we want for a black man and also for a black woman. But since it's not across the board, I find it a little weird. But I guess ultimately these movies, and whatnot, TV shows cater to what their black audiences want. Their black audiences seem to want black men who, quote unquote, look black from a distance. But when it comes to their black females, they don't seem to want black females who look, quote unquote, black from a distance. They seem to want the, light bright, damn near white, beige, waffle colored, racially ambiguous women who identify as black to be in the black role. But of course, there are dark skinned women in, black movies and black television shows, right? There are, but I'm just saying, it seems like that's what they want to gravitate towards. And a lot of times it seems like black men, well, light-skinned black men are sort of left out of the equation sometimes. Because sometimes you'd be like, oh, we have like the brown skin, dark-skinned, brown-skinned dude, the light-skinned female, and, the dark skin or the brown skin females. A lot of times the light-skinned black dudes for some reason are kind of like, it seems like they don't exist for some reason. In some cases, you probably would even get a white person before you would get a light-skinned black man for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes, the TV shows can be a little shady to light-skinned black dudes a little bit, But, for me personally, I don't really, try to really take it to heart much, but it's just something that I thought about when I was thinking about, I guess, colorism and media promotion and things like that. But sometimes, I guess the point where I'm getting at with this video is, and what I really want to go into is, like sometimes it seems like we as light-skinned black men don't really get media promotion. It seems like it, but we actually do have media promotion. But I think the problem is for us. I guess not necessarily a problem, but I think the issue is that we're not the focus. And that's the thing. And I think sometimes we're not clocked as black. We're not seen as black. Sometimes we get mistaken for like maybe Latino, or perhaps like some other type of exotic thing, like maybe Middle Eastern, um, and what have you, right? So I want to go and name a couple of light-skinned black men who are in the media and who are representing us, right? Because it may seem like we don't have it, but when you think about it, we do have it. Thankfully, we do have it, and I think that the media promotion is important. It is important. A lot of people like to say that it's not important and that how you feel should come from within. And while that is true, it should, but you know, the media does help. Believe it or not, the media does help. Um, I know some people don't want to admit that, but it does. So let me get on to this list. All right. Because first on the list, I would say Chris Brown. Um, I know like a lot of people have issues with Chris Brown, but he's part of the Waffle Color Brother, you know, Brotherhood, the Beige Brotherhood, and ultimately, for me personally, I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want to trade Chris Brown. Believe it or not, I don't want to. He needs to stay on, the beige side, the waffle color side. All right. Some people say, well, he doesn't really represent us well. I can see why people would make that argument, right? But I'll say that Chris Brown does kind of um, challenge some stereotypes about light skinned black dudes, because it's like, oh, you're like a pretty boy. But like Chris, he's not like that. So it kind of, he helps sort of challenge that stereotype. And, he's talented as well. And, women, do think that he's attractive. So, despite, his, issues and whatnot, women still think he's attractive, right? Another person that we could talk about is Chris Brown. I just said Chris Brown. Okay, another person we can talk about is Drake. So yeah, Drake, he's kind of like the it dude of rap, really popular. Um, you know, Women of other races, especially, have, you know, given him compliments and whatnot. And, like Selena Gomez saying like, oh, she wished Drake was interested in her, but I guess she has a flat butt, so he wouldn't be interested in her. And then, Amanda Bynes, when she had posted that tweet out. I mean, I know Amanda Bynes isn't, quite here, but still, I think, yeah, I'm gonna count it. When she said she wanted Drake to quote unquote murder her vagina, and then, what's her name? Jennifer Lopez as well. So, Drake, um, he kind of, ultimately, I think Drake is a good representation for us. I wouldn't trade Drake. I don't think I would trade any of the light skinned men who represent us. I don't think I would trade any of them really. I don't think so. None that I can think of at the moment, at least. So yeah. Then of course, J. Cole. A lot of black women, especially, like J. Cole, and like that he gives them representation in his videos and things like that, and he talks about black issues. All right. Jesse Williams, although news has come out that Jesse Williams may have cheated on his wife with Minka Kelly, so I don't know if black women may be feeling that, but before then, yeah, black women were feeling Jesse Williams. And also, he kind of represents like a bit more on the militant side of black activism. I always got to be a light skinned dude being militant, right? They always want to say that we just, soft, effeminate, bitch made, all that type of stuff, right? But when you really need someone to step up, who be stepping up though? Who be stepping up to the plate? Who be going up the bat for black folks, right? Who the militant folks, right? When you really think of the militant black people, who really just like, F this, I'm for my people. I just banging on the beast. I'm gonna set my people free. Yada yada, right? Who be the person? Who be the dude? Who be the shade, right? But folks, we don't get our just due. We just take it in stride and just keep soldiering on, thugging it out. But one day perhaps we'll get our just due. But yeah, Jesse Williams, and then Colin Kaepernick as well. I don't think he's quite as militant, but he did put himself out there and create like a national dialogue about police brutality and started the conversation on a grand scheme of things, and also put himself and his career at jeopardy, and as well has donated money to black causes as well. And I think he's marrying a black woman as well, light skin, like Jesse Williams, black woman, light skin, right? um, so yeah, those are a few of our representatives in the media. You know, another one, Michael Ealy. Someone had posted like this message on Facebook or this meme on Facebook where it had like Michael Ealy, Idris Elba, Morris Chestnut, and another man that I can't think of. Like there's like 3 dark skinned dudes and 1 light skinned dude, Michael Ealy. And I was thinking there was like basically like, oh, like which one, right? For the ladies, like which one. And I was thinking like a lot of women were going to be gravitating towards like Idris Elba or perhaps Morris Chestnut. But a lot of women, on my Facebook seem to be gravitating towards Michael Ealy for some reason. I was surprised by that because, in the community, the handsome standard, as I put it, it is stacked against us, We manage, as I mentioned before, and I've given plenty of examples of us managing, right? So, chill, all right? But still, we can just be honest. This handsome standard is stacked against us, right? But despite that, it seemed like a lot of the women on the Facebook were, gravitating towards Michael Ealy. I was like, oh, that's a surprise, a pleasant surprise. So it seems like, some white women, some black women are, open to different shades of blackness, right? Different variations of blackness, which is cool, which is great, actually, Let's see, another guy, Stephen Curry, Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry is pretty awesome because I think like Steph Curry is kind of, average for a basketball player as far as like his body is concerned. Like he's not really like, a freak of nature, quote unquote. But that's the thing too. It's like he's kind of like just an ordinary dude, but he's winning. He's like the it dude, and he's like doing it. And I think it's a little shade, a little shade coming from some darker skinned men because they kind of are used to being the center of attention, especially when it comes like basketball and like sports in general. But I think overall, I think dark skinned black dudes are, they ain't got no beef with Steph Curry like that. I think, they can give him props. They ain't hating on him or nothing. It's no big deal, right? Overall, I think it's just like, a small little minority that's want to throw shade, Another person, Jerome Iginla. And you may not know this dude, but he is a hockey player. And he is mixed race, part black and part white. And he's kind of like somewhat of the equivalent of like Steph Curry to hockey, at least at one point in his career. I'm not sure about how it is now, but at least at one point in his career, kind of like the star it dude, you know what I'm saying, of hockey. So we get representation in hockey too, and black folks don't even be dealing with no hockey, but we got some reputation up in there too. Let's see. So I've done, music. I've done a little bit of acting. I guess Shamar Moore, he's another representation, and he had a show on for a while. Criminal Minds. I think he left the show, but he could probably go back if he wanted to. But yeah, Shamar Moore's been around for a while. Then Rick Fox. He used to be a basketball player, and he's going on to be an actor as well. The Rock. You know, he's done really well, not only in wrestling but in acting. He's been able to transition and become you know, a serious actor. Well, not serious, but you know, like he can actually have a career being an actor. And Vin Diesel, you know, Vin Diesel has had a long career in acting as well. And we have, you know, a few politicians up in the mix too. Let's see. Let's see. Um, we have Cory Booker. He is a senator at this point. Um, we also have Barack Obama, of course. Folks consider Barack Obama to be part of the light skinned brotherhood. You know, who else we have? Um, um, hmm, Harold Ford. I'm not sure how his career is at this point, but I think at one point he was popular. Shoot. Um, Another guy is Senator Vince Hughes, and you may know him. He's actually married to Cheryl Lee Ralph. And for those of you who may not be familiar with Cheryl Lee Ralph's name, she's the woman who played the mom on Moesha. You know, Moesha's stepmom, Cheryl Lee Ralph. He's married to her, and he's light skinned, and you know she's dark skinned. I believe she's Jamaican. Um, and I think that is pretty cool. And you know, again, representation in politics. And I believe the Prime Minister of Jamaica is also a light skinned man too. Another interesting note that I forgot to mention in my previous videos, but Barbara Walters had an affair back in the day, and she mentioned this in her like memoirs called Audition. I think it's like a book she wrote, and it was called Audition. It's kind of like, I think, either an autobiography or a memoir. But yeah, Barbara Walters, she had an affair with a light-skinned black uh, male senator, I believe, or politician. I'm not sure uh, what his um, his vocation was, I guess. Oh, he was a senator. All right. So Barbara Walters had an affair with a married light-skinned black male senator. All right. um, Edward Brooke. Edward Brooke, that's his name. Senator Edward Brooke. Um, so, you know, I guess that's a checkpoint for the light-skinned dude, as far as like getting a woman with, you know, who is accomplished, you know. So, you know, as I mentioned before, because some folks were like, well, they only mess with you if you got money, or, you know, it's like, oh, well, what about the quality, right? So I've mentioned plenty of examples about that. I'm sorry, that's a sidebar. I know. Let me get back to business. All right. Let's see. So yeah. Also, I forgot to mention Lewis Hamilton. He is mixed, part black, part white, light skin. And he is a Formula One race car driver. So, you know, we up in, you know, not many black folks up in there, but, you know, light skinned black dude representing, you know, not only for the light skinned dudes, but for all black dudes, right? Um, and he also dated Nicole Scherzinger, the lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls, for a while. So, that was a bit of a, um, come up, you know, he did pretty well, you know. Let's see. And, you know, not, I was debating whether or not even to go into this, but I'm just going to go into this a little bit at least. We even have representation when it comes to, you know, the adult film industry as well. You know, there are actually, you know, light skinned black male actors in the adult film industry as well who represent us. And I believe that, some people may scoff at that. Some people may think that's a little lewd, but I think that is important. I think that is important. It does show that light-skinned black men are desirable, right? And as well, the adult film industry, pretty much treats light-skinned black men and dark-skinned black men pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. They don't really be saying, "Oh, this is a light-skinned BBC." Nah, they just be like BBC. They just classify it all as BBC. You know, in the titles, it's gonna be like, "Oh, my daughter's effing Blackzilla," or my daughter's effing a Negro, or those crazy titles that they be having. And by the way, don't be acting like squeamish and acting funny in the comment section. Save the comments, because I know somebody gonna be putting in the comment section like, "Oh, you watch porn," or "Oh, really?" Like, come on. Like, I think we're all adults here. If you don't watch it, then that's cool. But some people do watch it, and it is popular. Somebody watching it. They keep making them, so somebody watching it. If it's not you, then that is great. That is cool. Good job. But for people who do watch it, chill, right? Don't be acting funny. And really, I could probably do like a whole video about light-skinned men in that industry, and probably in general just black people in that industry. But I'm not sure if I should, again, because some people in the comment section gonna be acting funny. If I do it, I'm probably going to have to give like a long disclaimer about it before I get into it, because you know how people be acting, and I just don't feel like seeing it. But then again, I guess I could delete the comments, But I actually try not to be like deleting comments unless it's just straight up just disrespectful or something, you know. Um, but yeah, so I've gone into some, of our media representation, and like I said, even in the adult film industry, we got media representation, which is awesome, which is great, and, sports, music, acting, adult film industry, politics. Oh, also, I can mention we have media representation when it comes to news shows. Like Trevor Noah. He is the replacement for Jon Stewart, right? Isn't that like awesome that Trevor Noah was able to get a spot like that? And he's light skinned, mixed, representing us and doing a pretty good job. Don Lemon. People got issues with Don Lemon, but I'm gonna let him slide. Let's see. Lester Holt. Lester Holt. Um, I think he was like the first black man, I believe, to kind of like anchor like I think a nightly news show or something like that. You know, and he was the replacement for some dude. I forgot his name, but he was really popular. But yeah. So yeah, I guess I've said that. All I have to say for the time being. I just wanted to speak on light-skinned men in the media and our media representation. I think that overall, we had good media representation. I think that our issue is that we're just not. Part of it is that we're not the focus. Another part of it is that we aren't really. Sometimes we may not be seen as black, and I think that's because of how we are, possibly how we look and how people perceive us, as well as how the community sometimes will treat us. I know when it comes to light-skinned black women, I think that light-skinned black women are more likely to be viewed as black versus a light-skinned black man. And I think that has to do with the media. Because when you see like, oh, we have a black woman here. It's a light-skinned black woman, right? But oftentimes when like, oh, there's a black guy in this movie. He's black from a distance, right? So I think that kind of plays into, you know, the perceptions of people outside of the community. And I've said this before, you know, it's partially a joke, but I think there's some truth in it. I think like if some people had their way, I think that when it comes to the black community, all the black men would be dark skinned and all the black women would be light skinned. You know, if some people, not all people, but if, you know, some people had their way, that would be the community. Thankfully, those people do not have their way. But they'll just be like, okay, all the dark skinned dudes and all the dudes are dark skinned and all the women are light skinned and the rest of us can get the hell on. Find community elsewhere, right? But, you know, thankfully that's not how it goes down, you know. Thankfully. So I guess I'm done for the time being. So thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and your support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.